Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Quantum Spirituality right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My guest today is Teresa Collins. We've got a lot to talk about here today. We're going to be talking about tips and tricks for your blind spots in your subconscious and in your energy. What does that mean? Well, she says we all can benefit from understanding what's going on behind the scenes and why we may be actually blocking ourselves. And she's taken extensive training in understanding the different parts of our minds and how they are impacting our day to day. She was born with psychic abilities. In fact, she could fully see as long as she could remember, but she was raised in Catholic school, and the combination of disconnection and misalignment had her fearing her gifts, so she shut them down. You can't shut this down for long, folks. It always comes back. As most people she helps, she too had some pretty traumatic experiences growing up, but always kept her optimism and serious intuition alive. By the time she was 16, she was working two full-time jobs, and you can imagine the backstory. This is when she met her soulmate, Tom. She knew he would change her life forever, and she was driven and fearless. And at 18, she was running a Subway, but unfortunately, um, it was a bit of a workaholic and had a nervous breakdown at 21. And so she had to learn to heal. This is that soul opening up again, folks, activating her gifts just a little. And once healed the next chapter in her business, she decided to get a business degree and managed to be top of her class at the Pittman Business School in Vancouver. After business school, she ran a trucking company and then a security company while she was blessed with two amazing boys. These boys were 5 years apart and came with their own set of challenges. Her oldest one was so empathic and gifted that modern society would not understand him, and he ended up getting very sick. After 6 years of applying modern medicine in and out of children's hospital, no matter what they tried to medicine, it just didn't work. Luckily, Divine stepped in, yay, it saved the day, and introduced her to the most amazing healer. She helped her activate her gifts again and showed her the clear path for how to heal herself, her family, and started following the path of that purpose. The first couple of years, she healed her kids, herself, her husband, her family, and anybody that she could get her hands on. With such stresses, she needed to expand, and she reached out to the public and did over 250 healings in her first year. She's proud to announce that since that she decided full-time on her healing and wellness business in 2016, and it's changed their lives on a global level. She was voted #1 life coach in her area in 2023. And she's assisted over 2,200 healings on average per year, in an honor to activate healers all over the world with her sessions and online academy. So, wow. I mean, you can't escape it. You can't escape it. You've got the gift, right? And that gift says, okay, all right, you can put me on pause, go and suffer some life experience, but I'm coming back, baby.
Yes.
And it does. And it always comes back when we most need it. And when we've reached that point of least resistance, right? When we surrender and say, I just need help. And then it goes, thank you. I can now open the door and come in. Welcome to
Yes.
the show, hun.
Thank you so much for that amazing intro. Most people don't read the whole thing, Sarah. You're incredible. I was like, oh my God, I've done so much.
Exactly, exactly. A lot of people, yes, you were born with it, but you shut it down. Catholicism will do that for you. And then you go about and do the human job. And this is what a lot of people don't realize. Although we may have spiritual gifts from childhood, we are conditioned to live the human existence. And
Yes.
put that as a bag. Don't speak about it. It's too woo-woo. People will think you're a freak. Where are the white coats? Back in my day, it was the white coats anyway.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And but then it will always find its way back, because it has to, because in essence it is you, and this is what you are here to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it creeps out whether you're a corporate or not. And I think most of your audience can agree that we just never fit in. Right.
Exactly.
Anybody who's going to be drawn to this area is going to know that you've been the black sheep since the beginning. No matter how much you tried, you just never quite fit in.
You didn't belong in that realm because that realm is what I call the humanoid realm. And we are spiritual beings having a human existence, but our spirit is not embraced in that realm.
Yeah.
Right? It's everything is condition and control and conform. And with spirit, it's all about fluidity and flow. And those two don't go together.
Yeah, they do and they don't though, because I'm so grateful for that background. Like
Yeah.
when I look back now, I am so grateful for those boxes I kept trying to shove me in because
Mm.
it was the reason that I expanded, that I grow, and I said, wait, hey, I don't fit here. I've got to find somewhere else, right? So that not enough kind of search ended up being the reason I found the next.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and they also the experiences that you gather along the way, you take those tools and skills and apply them now. Because a lot of people think, well, when you're spirituality, it's kumbaya and you're just, with the flow. And when I talk about being with the flow, that is that energetic flow that is constantly then you're tapping into it and you're learning how to use that energy in a
yes,
productive way. And that's where the skills come in of life lived beforehand, because you know where it needs to be applied and how you can take that beautiful energetic healing and apply it productively.
yes. And I live a very, very spiritually aligned life, but I also have cats that puke and kids that freak out. And
Yes.
I tell my husband it's wonderful because my kids don't care what my bank account says, because if
Right.
they're having a bad day, they're having a bloody bad day. It
Exactly.
doesn't matter.
Exactly. It's tantrum day. I don't care
Yeah.
how rich or important you are. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it's lovely, and it's in the human experience and the balancing act that I do think we find the greatest joy. Right now, this is all about duality, right? So
Mm,
this month has been, for me personally, it's all about seeing the good, the bad, the ugly, the shadows, and the expansion between, right?
mm.
And then just really enjoying it. You can't enjoy joy until you've had a little bit of misery.
Right.
So
You
that
appreciate
balance,
you appreciate the joy so much more. You hold it so
yes,
much more in gratitude because you really do know, what the other side is like. I think also we value it in a different way. There is no taking it for granted. And
yes.
I think that's one of the problems with humanity is getting complacency or taking things for granted, and that nothing is for granted, good or bad. If you're in a
Yeah.
bad situation, you can find your way out of it. If you're in a good situation, don't take it for granted because it could be gone tomorrow.
Well, and that's the funny thing. It's I love that you brought this up, Sarah. This is such a divine conversation. I had this drop in the other day of how we really just don't appreciate anything until it's being threatened to be taken away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of talk behind the scenes, like, and we won't get into the government of whatever, but they're threatening like the whole holistic approach,
Yes.
right? They really are. And I was having a conversation with one of my clients, and I said, there's a point to that. The point of that now is it's getting the attention it needs. The right people are
Mm,
paying attention,
mm.
right? They're delving in, they're researching, they're understanding, they're saying, hey, wait, this has got value, this has got
Yes.
merit. We need to save this, we need to protect
Yes.
it, we need to make it a priority. So until that threat comes on, though, the
Mm.
right people aren't really necessarily paying attention.
It's the awareness. And
Yeah,
sometimes it's the negative awareness that brings about the positive awareness, right? What we can do
agreed.
with it. Having interviewed quite a number of scientific type people along the way, and this is why quantum spirituality genre came up, is that they understand that those that choose to live in the spiritual realm are living at a higher frequency. They're living in a higher vibration, which they can now measure. And then they understand at that higher frequency, they're healthier, happier, and more creative and productive people. They're more contributors to one another, and that they want to see people rise up to that higher energy. And is how do they do it? So they're more inquisitive of how we get there now. So whenever there is a protest of something, as you said, it brings an awareness and a questioning. Right.
Mhm.
Always, that's the big thing, folks. Always question. Don't just take face value. Why? What does it mean to you? How can you be a part of it or not be a part of it? It's just don't read the headlines and stay there. Look to the content and the right context of the content.
Yes, I love that. I do shift a little bit of the questioning in my life and add the word curiosity,
Yeah.
right? Be curious about it. How's it happening? Even with my own personal gifts, to be honest, I don't understand how I do half of it.
Yes.
It is simply through spirit,
Yes.
but it is
Yes.
measurable, it is quantifiable, and the
Yeah.
results are unmistakable. So having that curiosity of maybe, okay, so this was a higher intention, this was a shift. What did we do here? How did we work here? How is it a two-part? I find that a really big piece with my clients.
Hmm.
It's a two-part thing. It's a dance, right? So I'm
Yes.
I'm
Cha cha cha.
I'm inviting, but you got to join in the tango
Yeah,
here, my friends,
exactly.
right? And that's where we get the goodness. So
But
yeah,
that's where
being
the
curious.
energies meet, and when the energies
Yes.
meet, they expand.
Yes. It's
I
lovely.
always draw the analogy that we are here to discover what our gift is, and maybe we're a musician. We learned how to play that instrument, and we could be a soloist, and we can play very, very well on our own. But when we join an orchestra, and each one of us in our own strength come together harmoniously and
Mhm.
play, we transcend and ascend a symphony that is astounding. But it is up to each one of our own individual contributions. It isn't about, I'm going to join the collective and be mindless. It's about being abundant and joining that collective in order to share.
Yeah, and it's quantifiable as well. Like the numbers are, it's like compound interest,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
When you have just one plus one doesn't equal two. One
Yeah.
plus two now, one plus one actually equals three, four, five,
Yeah.
six, right? And anything 10 or above is the magnitude of the impact is unbelievable. Good or bad though. So
Yes.
this is what we're talking about today. It's those blind spots, good or bad. Are we,
Yes.
are we
What are you
bringing it
feeding?
in?
What are you
Yes. What are you
feeding?
feeding behind the scenes that you don't
Yeah.
realize it? And then you're getting together. We've talked about there's a lot of family interaction right now. We're
Mm.
getting together with all those people that are now feeding that
Yes.
trauma, right? That expansion all of a sudden. And what are we producing there?
Yeah. Yes, I'm about to, when this show airs, I will be in England, and I'll be seeing my brother and sister, whom I haven't seen in 4 years. They've both had life-threatening illnesses since then, but they are two completely polar opposites. And my sister has never got what I do, never got what I do, and she's a political junkie, and this is just, she's always sending me things on how to do a podcast, but she doesn't know what really it is. And it's like, I think what you have to do with people is that don't try and get them to fit into your channel. If it's just something they cannot do, find a channel the way you can dance together, where your energies can share with good intentions, with
With the
purity,
good intentions.
with
That's
the
the
good
super
intentions.
important thing,
Yeah.
especially with siblings, because unfortunately we trauma respond, we trauma bond,
Yes.
right? And that's again what we're talking about, these blind spots and
Yes.
magnifying them. And it's not just you. My sister doesn't get me either. My family thinks I'm absolutely bananas.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's that part of being that spiritual being, right?
Yeah,
Is like,
well, that's what it's about, right? I'm an expert in my field. I have
yeah.
people that pay me an exorbitant sums of money, which I love, to listen to me, and then I'll go. It's very humbling though, and I'll
Yes.
go to a family experience, and they're like, "Shut up."
Yeah, exactly. It is way above. And it's like, people pay for
Yeah,
that?
exactly.
I know. And
It's
it's
a
just
little
we're
bit of humble pie there,
on
right?
a different energetic plane, and we're for the people that are in that energy field. Yes.
Yes.
Nice the thing is that as much as you would love to turn their volume up on their energy, you
Yeah.
would love them to understand what it is you're feeling and how you see life and what the possibilities are. It
Hmm.
is their life's journey. Now, I believe that inspiration begets invitation. And if they're inspired by who you are and what you're doing, it's an invitation for them to look at themselves and go, can I too follow a path that, can rise up? But this is one of the things, there's free will, and everybody has to take their journey solo, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, to a point. And just to bring it back to the topic of the day, the blind spots, and I really love how this is organically unraveling. It's the what is that program that's going on behind the scenes that we automatically step into when we become now a sister, a
mm,
daughter, a cousin. So we're no longer these inspirational people, which we are absolutely. And thank you,
yes,
Sarah, for being so inspirational to the rest of the world. But
my
now we've
pleasure.
we've stepped into this hat now that we've put on
Mm,
that is unfortunately also familiar. So blind spots sit in that subconscious
mm,
programming that we've had since childhood. So anytime you walk into this kind of family experience, it's super important to be aware of what are your thoughts? What am I doing?
mm,
How am I behaving? How am I holding myself? Did I walk in the room feeling all slumped and where normally I would just own a room, right?
right.
So have I shifted into that
Yes.
role?
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I
So
hiding behind something because,
yeah,
yeah, am I owning who I am?
yeah,
Right? And I think it's okay for you to own who you are, but at the same time, find that dialogue with them of familiarity where you can talk with one another, not the trauma, but
yeah. It's a tricky
both.
game, right?
I know it is. I know it is. I've already said I don't want my weight discussed and I don't want that discussed. Don't bother
Yeah,
asking me those questions because I won't be answering them. Right. So I've already set
yeah,
that precedent. These are the boundaries. Right. But I think it's a question of whoever is that higher energy and leading that intent is keep things on track. Like, my sister and I we both got three children. We've both got grandchildren. She's much older than I am and kind of comes from a different world. So what we have in common. So what
yeah.
we have in common, we'll dance there. We'll have fun there. But make sure that we're not stepping outside of that because that's where the friction can come in. And that is, it's not, well, they don't see me and they don't hear me. No, they don't. So what do they see about you? What do they love about you? And be there on that level. And then you won't have those conflicts. You're not lessening yourself. You're not demeaning yourself by not being the fully person you are. You're being a reflection of yourself in a way that they can comprehend.
Yes. And I love all of that, Sarah. Thank you. It's just so amazing how divine this is for timing, for experience and stuff. And I'm sure there's a lot of your viewers going through this too.
Mm,
But honor, that's okay if you slip back into that a little bit of poor me bully, whatever we have with the sibling story, right? The sibling
yes.
story is definitely it's familiar to everybody and it doesn't matter what family you're from. The key, I think, in this is yes, we are going to have these blind spots, and it's the self reflection and taking
Mm,
a minute. And this is where the maturity comes now as an evolutionary being that, yes, you're stepping back into this old school story. But then when you're done, take a minute, take some time, take some gratitude, take some grace and patience for yourself
mhm.
to see how did you behave? Could you have shifted it? Was
Yeah.
that a subconscious programming? So I think the key in this case is just a little bit of self-reflection time. So making sure you're carving that out, even when you're in these family experiences.
What
So
vibe
carving
are
out.
you coming in on?
Well, and sometimes we can't control it. This is again,
No.
it's a subconscious programming, and this is the whole point of the blind spot.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of it, going, "Shit, I'm doing this." So I shoot, I'm doing the same thing I've always done.
Yeah.
Damn it, I wasn't gonna do this. This is not
Right.
my intention, right? So and when I talk about blind spots, again, it's a super point to not judge yourself, to just be okay with wherever you're at, and know that you have the ability to self-reflect after and not carry the same guilt, shame, judgment, crap story that we used to carry. That's
Exactly.
the shift. Yeah, that's the difference we can make.
Yeah, that was yesterday's channel. I'm in a different channel today.
Yes.
Let's talk about today. Let's talk about the future. Um,
Yes.
and that's, I mean, my daughter's just announced that we're moving somewhere near Alaska. And it's like, what? They have over 200 days a year of just rain and no sunshine. And it's like, oh, can I cope with that? But it is,
You can, because I
I
live in
will.
Vancouver and that's
Yeah.
what we have. We have
Yeah, but
lots
we
of
do
rain.
get sunshine. They don't even get sunshine, you know? And it's like there's going to be an awful lot of vitamin D bulbs everywhere.
Yeah, it's funny though, you're also closer to the sun.
Mm,
So even though you don't get a lot of sunshine, you get a lot of the sun's energy.
yes.
So
No, that's good.
that'll be a
That's good.
different thing too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I think, this is the thing is that, those blind spots where, of I don't know. So therefore I'm going to go into my old reaction of fear or of, oh, can I or can't I? And it's like, well, you don't know what you can and can't do until you immerse yourself into it and immerse yourself into it with a positive attitude, right? It's like, okay, there's a lot of rain up there. All right, my hair's going to be constantly curly. I don't need to curl it. Look for the
Yeah,
positives.
and the thing is they are blind spots. So give yourself a
Mm,
bit of a grace,
yeah.
right? And it's just like walking. Your body
Mm,
learned to walk without having to say, okay, one foot in front of the other. It also learned to respond to this situation without having to get your permission.
yes.
So our conscious mind only rules 5% of us. So again, it takes a little bit of courage to look in and say, okay, well, what am I doing? Maybe that's obvious to everybody else, but I keep missing because it's
Yeah.
so normal to me, like walking. And that's the first key is having that little bit of courage to say, where am I actually blinding myself? Where am I actually doing these things behind the scenes that I keep wanting to get this goal, but I can't get it. And it's
Mm.
because there's something running behind there saying, wait, you don't deserve it. You don't think it. You
Yes.
don't want it.
Old
You're not
programming. Yeah, that old
whole
program. And
of the
as much
programming.
as we deprogram ourselves, and believe me, folks, I've deprogrammed quite a bit, there's still that cellular memory that comes up, right? And it works its way up to the surface, and you think, I thought I dealt with you. Why are you still here? And how come you've got so much force? You know?
Yeah.
And
So can I
it's
speak a little bit to that, to why it
please
feels like
speak
it
to
keeps
that.
coming up?
Yes.
So it's not that it keeps coming up. What is happening is layers. So as you
Mm.
expand into your higher knowledge, you have a greater tool set to deal with it.
Yeah.
So then you now can deal with it on a deeper level. So it's
Mm.
not the same thing coming up because people do feel that way. They feel like, oh my God, I'm constantly healing the same crap.
Right.
And you may be feeling it, but usually it's just another layer. So now
Mm.
you, as a human, have expanded, so you can heal that in a different way,
Right.
right?
You're not going to be, so traumatized from it. It's just like, okay,
Yeah,
I
you might.
see you. Well, I think, again, talking from the experiences that, when something comes up, I look at it and go, that's interesting that you're here. But
Yes.
then I kind of look back on of how much I've actually accomplished and overcome in the past years and go, okay, it's interesting that you're here. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to tell me, but I really don't feel that you're any of use. So I would like you to go.
Yeah.
So you deal with things in a different way. You don't get, the initial shock, maybe, what are you doing here? And then it's like really look at it and go past maybe a memory that's been triggered,
Yeah.
right? A past feeling that's been triggered. Okay, I acknowledge you. Don't try to dismiss it and go, la, 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 la. I acknowledge you, but you no longer serve me.
And this is honestly really helpful if you have like a spiritual friend you can do this with. My husband
Yeah.
and I actually play a game. So my husband is really, really, really loves catching my blind spots. It
Mm.
brings him a lot of joy. And the other day he caught one. We were driving and I was drinking a really crappy coffee, and we stopped to get my girlfriend a Starbucks. And he's like, "Do you want a Starbucks?" I'm like, "No, I already have coffee." And he goes in, he comes back, and he's like, "Why are you drinking the crappy coffee over Starbucks?" And I realized it's a program.
Yes,
In my parent, you never waste coffee. That was the
exactly.
thing. You
Yes,
just don't waste coffee, right?
right. You
And he was in his
sacrifice, you suffer through
glory.
the
He
coffee.
was, he was in his glory that he had called me on this blind spot. And I was so grateful for it because
Yeah,
honestly, it like went right past me. And I do a lot of work, right?
right. Yes.
But so at that point I dumped it out. I was like, okay, I'm done with this, thank you. So but just like
Yeah.
these little things, and I do this professionally, like
Yes.
really, I find
Yeah, but
people.
that
So
doesn't, yeah, but it's
how
different when you're
funny.
working on other people because you've got both eyes on other people. On your
Yes.
own self, it says
Yes.
that you're unaware until somebody makes you aware. My
Yeah.
youngest daughter is one of those. She'll, and like she's in your face with it.
And not always so kind, right?
Nah,
But
piss
it is
off.
nice. It is nice. So learning
Yeah.
to take a little bit of criticism is the next thing. So the first thing
Yeah.
is you have to be honest with yourself. The second thing, you have to take criticism about it. And honestly, it may be serving me. Like maybe
Yes.
drinking crappy coffee is what I want to do. Maybe I feel like it's not wasted. I,
Right.
I don't, but like I
Yeah.
can say, okay, maybe this is still serving
The
me, right?
conscious
So
thing is, why should I waste it? There are people that need this coffee in the world, and
I
I'm going to
know.
drink it sacrificial. On the other side of it is, why are you putting yourself for a crappy cup of coffee when really nobody else is going to drink it? It's okay to pour it out and have another one, you know?
Well, it's
Yeah.
okay to honor yourself enough to buy a coffee
Yeah.
because we have this, we have such a funny thing again, that blind spot with money, right?
Yeah, I
That
know.
blind spot with deserving those, like all these tiny little things that were connected to that crappy cup of coffee,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Which in my world, that's amazing. When we find those Easter eggs, that
Yes.
lights me up.
Yes.
But it didn't always. It would send me into a tizzy before, and now I
Right.
love it. So
Right.
yeah.
When you get to that level where you can be kind of pointed out,
Mhm.
you know, and you can take it with a pinch of salt. You may not like it, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it's okay. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
doing that again, unaware that I'm doing that again. And,
Yeah.
the more aware you become of things, the more aware you can change that pattern. But,
Yes.
some stuff does trigger you, or you do get to that spot sometimes where you get to that old programming again for some
Yes.
reason or other. And it's okay. What I say to people is you're not reliving it. You're just remembering it. Look again. There was people up there at a crossroads. I don't know where to go, and something's come up that's kind of crippled them. It's like stop, pause, take a breath, look behind you, look how far you've come. Look how
Yeah,
far you've removed yourself from that. It's there as a memory to show you how far you have come, how courageous and strong, and how much ability you do have. Pay attention to it so that you don't repeat it unconsciously again,
yes, because that's
right?
what you're doing. You're recreating.
Yeah.
And those patterns are actually a great way to see where the blind spots are again.
Mm,
So if you're taking that self-reflection time to just see, okay, well, what patterns am I recreating? What patterns do I keep repeating? What stories? And we often replay it with different people. So, it may be one with your mom, then it's one with your best friend, then it's a teacher, then it's some chick in Starbucks line, right? So, but we're repeating the same kind of
yeah.
pattern. So that's a great way again to see those blind spots, right? So one of the next tool I would suggest is journaling, because
Yes.
journaling is a lovely way to create that distance for us
Mm.
and to see these self reflections instead of this just running around in that mind again for us.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I tried the old kind of daily journaling and I couldn't do it because I became a blogger. And now,
yes,
I do my own shows every week, whereas I address something and I look at it and then look at what am empowered to do about it.
I love
Uh,
it.
and that is kind of, it's an observation that I share with other people, but at the same time, it's almost a therapeutic thing I'm going through at the same time, right?
100%.
And it's like, this is on my mind, press record, what comes out.
Yeah,
So it's
I
very
love that.
organic in
Yeah.
the moment, so it's very truthful. And it's, I love this word flawsome. I was introduced to it a long time, and to the 262, I've introduced flawsome now as a common word. But we're all going to get shattered and broken along the way, but it's how we put ourselves back together. I like in Japan and China, they put these balls back together with gold, and it makes it even more priceless. I'm saying we put ourselves back together with love. That love bonds those pieces and makes us strong. And you said something when we had a session, you talked about your cup where you are asking for support is too small, make it bigger. And it's like subconsciously now I have this big, beautiful, flawsome crack ball that is huge,
Yeah,
ready to be filled. And it
yeah.
is that we don't realize sometimes that we may be thinking small because that has been the conditioning that we've been brought up on. And all you need to do is just expand the vision.
And I'm sorry, but I'm going to encourage you to realize that you're all thinking small. I'm thinking
Mm.
small.
Yes,
I
because we're
I
conditioned
have
to
a
do so.
Dude, I have an amazing, amazing life. I've written two books in the last month, well over 600 pages.
Wow.
Thank you. And I'm so proud of that. But I got to
Yes.
tell you, Spirit's looking at me going, it's about time.
Yes.
It's about
Yes.
time, honey. Why have you not? And then the next. And once I finally did that, I did realize in this lane, because you have many, many lanes, I
Mm.
was thinking quite small.
Yeah.
And the best part about that in 6 months is I'll realize that was thinking small too.
Yes. Yes. I wrote my book a year ago where I just shut down for 3 weeks and I just let it pour out. And
That's how I did this too. Manic.
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of taken a year to edit it purely because of time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The rewriting and all of that. But my brother is a professional author and a literary professor, but he writes utterly differently to me. But I'm really am surprised because I thought he'd critique it, kind of because I'm talking very much my spiritual journey. He writes like that when he writes novels. He's a very
Nice.
spiritual writer, but he's not a spiritual liver. So it comes out in his writing. But I was surprised that the criticism wasn't critical. It was just a natural critique of grammar, spelling, and
Yeah,
content.
yeah.
And my son-in-law took on editing of it, and he created my book cover. And he's an engineer.
Lovely.
And I like, and to the two people I would have least thought
Yes.
to kind of look at the book and the critique that they've given me has been very, very productive. And that's one
Huh.
of the things we're going to do in England is finish off that and also the chapters for the Forgotten Children series book. Um, but yes, I've been asked for my book for years by people. And
Yeah.
it's like I share stories of people that have gone through things. Like I had one this week, the same week as here. She was sent to jail for 2 years for her brother's crime.
Oh my.
They couldn't find him, they sent her. And if they weren't going to send her, they were going to send the younger brother. She committed no crime. She had no trial date. She was sent to jail. She had a 14-year-old child with autism at home, right? And that's
You got to wonder what kind of soul lesson that's being called on, eh?
but that's the interesting thing is
Yeah.
just before she went in, she became a Buddha. Now she's a nutritionist. So while she was in there, she
Mm.
became the soul nutritionist. So
Wow.
it took her on another journey. But I mean, it talks about the injustice, and she should be so angry and she's gone through that process. But it's what it gave her along the way, right? So when
Well,
you
and
do,
what a lovely add-on into this thing, because you're talking about somebody who's literally in a box.
yes,
Yet the limitations were unlimited.
yes,
What a
yes.
wonderful, wonderful example of how we have that control, no matter what our environment is.
But and then also, I always say for all the people that have gone through the worst, some of the most inhumane things that have been done to them,
Yeah.
that because they chose to go through that process and to
Hmm.
rise above the suffering, rise above the victimization, rise above the pain, and who they are today are
Right.
extraordinary people. And I admit when I was writing my story, I've gone nothing through like that. I've gone through my own traumas. I've gone through my own pain. I've gone through my own suffering, but nothing compared to that. And it's
Yeah,
like,
gratefully not.
and I say to people all the time, two words, don't compare, don't compete, be yourself. And it's something I had to
Yeah.
keep repeating to myself because maybe my story might be somebody else's reflection where they get what I'm saying. It's what they're going through. And that's why every story matters. So although we kind of compare ourselves, but it's not as big as that, and it's not as this as that, it's not as that as that. No, it's your story. It's who you
Yes.
are, and somebody out there needs to read it because it will help them on their journey of life.
Yeah. Sometimes it's in the writing is the so healing too.
Yes.
It's like releasing that attachment to results.
Yeah.
Just do it because you can. I love it.
Yes,
I
yes.
love it.
It's really, the discovery, because it's my own self-discovery, but the discovery of yourself, especially when you've let things out, and then you look at, this is where the journaling comes in. Me, I just go grand and do, big blogs and big books, but for the whole journaling thing, don't think while you're writing, just
Yeah.
write. Right? Maybe don't even read it back that day. Read it back a day or two later. And because, you're pouring out what you need to pour out in the moment,
Yeah.
right? When you
Yeah.
look back on it, you go, oh, okay, I can see it from a different perspective now. Or I can understand how you felt at that time.
Well, and you ruin your rhythm, I think. So like
Mm,
it's funny because I'm very manic when I write, and my family's absolutely amazing because they're just like, Mom's writing. It's like
yeah.
forget dinner, forget
Yeah.
everything else. Mom's
Pizza
writing it.
again. Yeah.
And that's okay. And people think manic's a bad thing, but I gotta tell you, if you have stepped into that beautiful channel
Mm,
of delving into the story, that's
yes.
kind of what's called for.
Yeah.
Um, and in general, like this is about being kind of a master of your own domain. This is about being the leading lady in your life.
Yeah.
We're all running a movie, but some of
Mm,
us are just playing a side piece.
yes.
We're not playing the leading roles in our life. And that's where these blind spots is super important to notice. Where am I not stepping up? Where am I not
Yeah.
standing? Where am I people pleasing all the time? Right? Maybe my schedule is too full because I can't say no because I'm worried
Yeah.
about how it's going to be responded. And this is another that blind spot. So just taking a minute, a big question to ask yourself. And again, with courage, what am I actually afraid to know?
Right.
What
Why am
am
I
I
so
actually
afraid to
afraid to
come
know?
from the chorus line and step up into the spotlight?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
What's
Why am
holding
I
me back?
afraid to be seen? Right?
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. My goodness. Why am I this visibility to be seen with you is it's taken a lot. Right? I have two interviews today. I used to do freak out about having one every 6 months.
Right.
Right? So it's that we shifted that. But
Yeah.
I had to originally say, why am I afraid to be seen?
Right.
What do I think? How is it going to be responded? What's the story, the
Yeah.
nonsense, the blind set I'm telling myself behind the scenes?
I mean, I'm actually, people perceive me as being somebody that is an extrovert. I'm not. I'm an extreme introvert, but I have extroverted enthusiasm. So it gets,
Yeah.
and people don't understand how you can be both things. But very much so, I can be both things, and that's when I'm called on, I'm outgoing because I'm in my energy, I'm in my purpose, I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. But I love my solitude time of digesting and regrouping and tapping into that beautiful university energy out there. Um, if you had told me 11 and a half years ago that this is what I was going to be doing for life, I would have gone, no, no. Um,
Excuse me?
you're asking me to touch technology,
Yeah.
right? You're asking me to kind of speak with strangers and ask them
Yeah,
questions, and yet when I got into it, I felt like, God, this is something I love. This is
yeah.
something I love, and the people I get to meet. And you watch the news, which always is negative. Everything around you is negative. And then you kind of think, well, that's life, and it sucks just getting through, surviving. No, it's about thriving life. And when you hear the stories of people who have gone through stuff that are sharing enthusiasm and sharing gifts and tools and ways to live life, beautiful illuminations, then it's like, well, why can't I have that? And you can have that. And the
No, but
point
I
is,
like that question. Why can't I have that?
right,
And that's it. Ask yourself, why can't I have that? Why do I
exactly.
think what is running that makes me believe,
Hmm.
quote unquote, that I can't have that? Because
Right.
we all have the same possibilities. We all have the same
Yes.
24 hours in a day.
Yes.
Right? It's and but some it's funny because some people will take it and run and other people just stay in their house. And I've
Right.
done both. I've done both.
Yeah.
I've definitely not, I mean, I am the pursuer of truth, absolutely, but I've also taken those weeks where don't talk to me.
Yeah.
So I think that's a nice balance.
Yes. Yes, I hear you. I know where you're at with that. And
Yeah.
it's I if I'm doing a speaking gig, because like on the 262, dear old Deb, it will ask us, just Sarah, what do you think of? And I've got 10 seconds, if that, to kind of, and I don't think, I never think. It just comes out with what I feel.
I love
And
it.
and I have no idea what I've just said.
Can we play that back, please?
Yeah, it's just, and
Ah,
but I think that is something that it took me a long time to give myself permission to be that person,
hmm.
right? Because it was always, what do people think? What do they want from me? Am I enough? Da 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 da.
Oh,
You
the
know?
whole story, right? And then the stories we don't know about the stories,
Exactly.
you know. Yeah. And how many times did you speak up before and it wasn't well received,
Exactly.
right?
And that's the
Yeah.
one you remember. Well, there was this
Yes.
one time, and it's
Yeah.
what about all the other times? And I
Yeah.
think this is where when you get criticism, when you become, you're not doing anymore, you're being. Right? You are being the energy, you are being the purpose, you are being the person that you're meant to be.
Yeah.
Then whatever criticism comes to you, you can look at it as, is it a productive critique, or is it somebody's discontent with their own life being imposed upon you?
Oh yeah, yeah. I recognize that. I get a
Right.
lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the
I'm the
thing is,
shaker of shit.
yeah, don't take it seriously, because it's not about you, it's about them, and they're just dumping on you. So don't
Yeah.
take it personally. This isn't an attack on you. You know who you are, why you are, and what you do. And it may be disappointing, all right? But at the
It's
same time,
extremely disappointing. Let's be honest about
yes,
it.
oh
It's
yeah,
extremely
I
disappointing.
had
Like
one of those
I
yesterday, right?
let's
And
talk
yeah,
about that, right? Like we are inspirational teachers, but we're also humans, dude. Be
yes,
nice.
exactly. Exactly. No, I had a disappointment yesterday was when one of
Yeah.
the people dropped out of the book, and this was
Yeah.
one of the people that inspired the book in the first place. Somebody I've been behind for years now. And
Yeah.
his organization is wonderful. He's got big, and he's been at the White House and on TV and this, that, etc. And
Ooh, ah.
so, now it came across where he's like, well, take my name if I didn't give you permission. I said, yes, you did. Right.
Mm,
And it's like threatening lawyers. And I go, excuse me?
yeah.
I've been an advocate for so long. I'm giving you the opportunity to be a part of the book, which also, through the sales of the book, funds your organization. I'm doing this for no pay. I'm doing this because I'm so committed to bringing this book about and the changes that we need for our children. You agreed on this. What's this?
Yeah.
Well, I can give you an hour. No. If you can't give me your full commitment, because I'm giving my full commitment, I can't just do that for you and not for the rest of them, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else is giving their time to the structure of what this book is going to be. And if you can't be there, then fine, I'll cut you
Yeah.
off. But it was
Yeah. And it's
disappointing. It was disappointing, very much so.
absolutely. And misalignment is going to feel yucky.
Yes.
That's the thing. Misalignment is going to feel yucky, and it's supposed to feel yucky
Hmm.
because if it didn't feel yucky, we would sit in the wrong spaces.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So it's human, obviously. We have to digest
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Oh,
But
mhm.
also the
Yeah.
greater thank you
Yeah.
that it feels yucky because that's
Yes.
not where I'm supposed to be. Right.
Exactly. When you
Yeah.
get to the initial, what?
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
you're threatening lawyers? What? How
Mm,
did we get there? And I responded back with that. And I went, wow, like, what's this? I've
Yeah.
been an advocate of yours since the beginning of time. You agreed on this book.
Yes.
I don't understand what this is. And then came back with, well, I'll do an hour by audio.
Yeah.
No, no, no. You're either in or you're not
Mm.
in.
Yeah.
But, it's uh, this is for you and your organization.
Mhm.
So if I'm too small for you, and I did say that, if I'm too small for you now, so be it,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. And
Because
that's okay, right? That's okay.
yeah,
That's okay. And I think that's where we can come to that again, back to the self-mastery and self-reflection. That's okay. He can be where he is, and that's okay. You're going to obviously turn this into something amazing. And,
yes, I
invite
intend to
five
do
more
so.
people. Invite
Yes,
five more people that
yes,
now, have the opportunity to share something that's totally organic and
yeah,
new and amazing.
yes.
Right. And I know lemons out of lemonade, but we do that. And that's, I think, the bigger picture, right?
Well,
Spirit
the
showing
thing
us that,
is this, is
yeah,
that I'm losing somebody that could have been a good headliner.
yeah,
But at the
maybe
same
could have
time,
been.
I'm looking, yeah, but I'm looking at the people and what they are doing for children
Yeah,
and what they're contributing to this book
yeah,
and why they're doing it. Heart,
yeah,
soul,
yeah,
compassion,
yeah,
right? Empathy and a driver and advocate for change.
yeah,
That kind of enthusiasm, that kind of dedication is what's in the book with the people I have already. And if you can't match that dedication, then you wouldn't be a fit,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And honestly, Sarah, I just got to know you, but you're such a lovely soul, and you're sharing so much, and you're creating so much impact in this world. So
Bless you.
just
Thank you.
just continue that path, right?
You
Just
know,
continue straight ahead, sweetie pie, because
that's something
that's it, right?
that I realized in life. I used to be the hare. It's about getting to the end, rushing through it.
Yeah.
Had a vision, see it, let's do it. Blah, enthusiasm, go through it all. I'm now the tortoise. And I'm enjoying being the tortoise because along the way I get to meet people and I really see what's important. It's a slower journey. I'm a plodder, but I will get there and I'll get there with substance.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where there is yet. I haven't figured it out. There for me this week is a cruise. I'm going on a cruise, so that's my
Oh, there
there
you
this
go.
week.
There you go.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
And like,
actually there's that in itself represents a manifestation of joy,
right.
right? So that's one thing that we like to do here is what are my joys and how can I manifest them and how can I bring them into, and then when they come, really celebrating them. We
Exactly.
forget to celebrate
Right.
sometimes.
You're here now.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
other thing is about water, it's such a wonderful conduit. So anytime
Yes.
you're in and on around water, it's doing its job while you're having fun.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
lovely.
So,
And when we teach the universe that we can have fun and enjoy, they send us the success in that ease and joy.
yes.
I find after my vacations, I my business is 1,000 times more successful
Yeah.
because I just chilled out. It's kind of weird, right?
Right. No, but that's the thing is that,
Yeah.
forget about your triggers, forget about your blind spots,
Mhm.
forget about any of that. This is just about being present in the moment, in gratitude
Yes.
and enjoy. One of the things I think that so many people are having a hard time living in is in a state of joy.
Yeah.
They either feel
Yeah.
guilty about it or I should be doing something else. Or why am I feeling joyful when other people are suffering? Do I
I,
deserve the joy? Yes, you
yeah.
do.
It's almost like that survivor's guilt, hey?
Yes, yes,
Right? Because we do see all these, and especially as healers, because we work with so many people that
mm,
are in trauma, right?
yes,
And then so we almost have that limitation of I can feel happy, but not too happy, right?
yeah,
Because all these people are in trauma. So
yeah.
yeah,
Am I
it's
being
something.
selfish to be so happy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And the
How
thing
can I
is,
be
yes,
this
I
happy?
want you to have that joyful selfishness.
Yes.
Because when you're in joyful selfishness, you're actually in creativity. You're in a beautiful, abundant energy. Let your cup runneth over.
Yeah. And what you're sharing at that impact is actually so much greater than if we would just sit in the suffering with people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
most of the clients that you work with are people that are at that crossroads or they're dealing with shoot and they're
Hot
just not quite
messes.
sure how to
Hot
get out of the
messes. Yeah.
doo-doo.
That's my specialty is a hot mess. You're a hot mess, baby. I got you. That's
Because
what I love.
when we are a hot mess or when we are in trouble, everything about our body contracts. There's no flow, there's no fluidity, there's no clarity. All
No.
right. So you need somebody to kind of help you breathe and see things differently so you can pull on that thread of hope and go, oh, okay, that path I can take.
Well, energetically, what you're doing is you're actually recreating the same bullshit.
Mm.
I really got to watch my mouth. I'm sorry. I don't know if we're
That's
allowed
okay.
swearing on there,
That's
but
fine.
I do a lot of swearing in my real life because I'm dealing with real humans, right? So
Right,
sometimes
exactly.
there is a word for that.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
but yeah, what's happening is we're because we get stuck in the state, we just keep creating the state and we keep creating the state. So
Yes.
what I do is, I go in and I change that. I
Yes.
change that process. We shift you out of that, and then
You
once you can
change
shift out of it,
frequency. Yeah.
you can, you can start to see, oh wait, there's this, there's that, oh wait, okay, wait, yeah, like there's this or that, right? So I don't have to keep living that same world
Right.
that maybe my grandmother, my mother, my
Yeah.
all of them have
Yeah.
done. Like, wait, there's another way. And so
Yes.
I start opening doors for people, and it's really insane how quick it can happen when you do this holistic approach, when you're doing it mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and energetically, right? When we are combating all of these areas of your life, the transformations in a session are like, literally, it sounds like
Yeah.
I'm making it up, right? My
Yes.
Google reviews, they sound like they're making it up, but it's happening over and over again.
Right.
It's really neat.
But I mean, this is what people don't understand is you're 90% water. That water can be contaminating to your whole psyche, mind, body, heart, and soul. And so you need to feed it loving energy in order for it to be productive. And that when we're in negative energy, we are attracting negative energy. You know, what we seed, what we water, what we nurture is what's going to grow. Be careful what seeds you're putting out there. And sometimes you need that outside perspective to look in and go, do you realize you're planting weeds over and over again?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And,
and yeah, and scientifically, water was proven to be one of the most programmable
yes.
elements on the earth.
Hmm.
So you come back
Yes.
to your 90% water, guess what you're
Yes.
doing?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's it's just as water is a conduit, whether you're in the shower or swim or boat on the water, at the same time, the conduit is within you,
Mhm,
right? And it's like it's the calmer your waters are,
mhm.
right? The more energetic they are. And I don't mean run, 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 fuse them energetic. I mean powerful energy of clarity, that beautiful energy that leads you down to what you need to know when you need to know it. That knowingness is something that is absolutely beautiful and divine, will never lead you wrong. But you need to learn how to get into that particular energy field and know how to ride it. And that means know what's tripping you up. What are the blind spots that keep going in the way of that fluidity of clarity?
Yeah. And what are you telling yourself? That power of words is so incredible when we're talking
Yes,
about programming, and we have that beautiful inner critic that is just uh,
exactly.
that's with you
Exactly.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? That is the head of the blind spot department, and is just, feeding it every time you make a move. So sometimes two steps, or one step forward, two step back, is our own doing.
Right. And I'm first one to say, I'll look at me naked and go, oh my God. And then, I can, and then just give myself a hug for all the wonderful curves I have. I'm so
Yeah.
huggable, you know. And that's the thing, that was old programming that keeps coming up. And why am I less than? Because I have a few more curves.
Why is it even a conversation?
Exactly. And why is that conversation? And that actually I realize is totally hereditary. It
Yeah.
and this is why I've said when I go over to my brother and sister, weight is off the table because they're still on that programming.
Yeah. And if
Right.
you want to really get into it, look at the challenges your mom had and be honest with yourself. Are you still doing those same challenges?
Oh,
Because
yeah, that's what I'm trying
that
to
mother
avoid.
wound is
Yeah.
big. Oh my
Oh,
God, that
oh, I
mother
know.
wound is big. And we love them because they're our greatest teachers, right?
Yes.
Whether it's what to do, what not to do. And it's definitely a great point to start. Like, am I people pleasing? Am I always putting myself
Yes.
last? Am I always, do I think it's selfish to
Yeah.
take care of myself, right? Do I not think I deserve the new?
Mm.
Right? Like, these are beautiful things that my mother and I've combated. Uh, and and she's 69 now, so she's still
That's
teaching
me.
me.
Just
Yeah,
turning,
well,
I'm
my
about
mom
to
is
turn
my mom has
69.
done a massive transformation and healing, and she's still teaching me at any age is always possible,
Yeah.
which is lovely,
Yeah.
right?
My
Yeah,
mom
it's
has
amazing.
passed over for quite some time now, but
Mhm.
I mean, she was a martyr because she was basically told,
Yeah,
she's born 1920, that, you really don't matter.
no, you
And
sacrifice.
And that, that generation, be seen, not heard, you're not powerful, you're a woman, da 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 da. And then I'm, of course, a 70s chick. That's when we're kind of part of that liberation, part of that change, which then kind of fell back the other way again. So
Hmm.
a seesaw thing of it. And I recognize societal patterning is something
Yes.
that we take on
Yeah.
and we live by because we feel that's the only way to fit in. Stop trying to fit in. The only thing that you need to fit in is within yourself. You need to be comfortable within yourself because you're
Yeah.
going to feel uncomfortable everywhere else if you're trying to fit in with society.
Yes. And you're going to feel uncomfortable in yourself on a regular basis when you're growing, to be fair.
Yes, yes.
That comfort zone is a bit of a trap. It's the prison itself.
Yes, it's the sorting out through the wardrobe. I loved
Yeah.
this outfit, but
Yeah.
I really don't need to wear go-go pants anymore. Time for
Yeah.
it to go, and then
Exactly. Exactly. Time to evolutionize. It's time for the
yes,
next thing. And in general, the world is changing. The
yes,
problem is our beliefs and
fabulously,
our
yes.
values haven't quite caught up in
No,
some ways. So we're
no,
still watching that black and white TV, even
mm,
though we have these beautiful 100 screens in our house,
exactly.
right? We're not getting into that depth.
Here's a
But these
question for you.
conversations, yeah.
Right, here's a question for you. I generally do feel that the conscious is rising and that the shift is and the pendulum is already changing. And this is why I feel what I call third dimensionist people that still are living in fear and hate and opulence and greed and panic and everything else are people that are either too fearful or unwilling to kind of take that higher evolution and grow up into a higher frequency because they already know the change is happening. And, I think that people are realizing that we need to turn up our volume on our frequency. We need to turn up our consciousness. We need to turn up our own self-value, our own personal abundance, so we can be a part of that collective and be a contributor. Are you feeling that as well?
So I actually have a different kind of a different theory on it. And Dolores Cannon said that we're in a new earth.
Hmm.
I think, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to come up with it because it feels channeled. It's not me. But I think both Earths are coinciding at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think there was an opportunity to get on the train, and
Yes.
the ones that got on the train are noticing a difference. They're creating
Yes.
their own reality.
Yeah.
I experienced this during COVID. COVID was one of the best times of my life.
Hmm.
I did 3 retreats. I wrote 2 books. I bought a brand new car. We bought a boat. We spent a lot of time in the ocean. I traveled. It was an amazing time in my life. There's very few people who can say that.
Yes. Yes.
and I do believe now that there's a lot more people that have this ability to shift their reality and to see the higher dimension. Everything is higher dimension though.
Yes.
You've got these people that are living in 3D that don't think this stuff exists. They think you and I are bananas.
Of
Yeah,
course.
their money is all energy. They're
Yeah.
on their cell phones and they're touching things
Yes.
and it's moving. Like,
Yeah.
not quite connecting the dots,
No.
right? So those ones that aren't quite connecting the dots, I don't know if they're going to wake up.
I actually feel they won't. And I think
It's
already,
not my
as you said,
business though.
exactly, you said the train has already left. For me, I call it the bridge has already broken through the fourth
Yeah,
dimension and people stepping into that five dimension of purpose. And we're here to help those people because that's what we're here to do. They're already free will, that I want to elevate. I want to understand. I want to step into this higher consciousness, whatever they wish to call it.
yeah.
We're there to help them continue that path. We can't help people that are still in denial,
Well,
right?
and what the thing is there's too many people that are making the conscious choice that need us,
Yeah,
and I only have so many hours in a day.
exactly.
So, so
Exactly.
my main goal is to work with the ones that are ready and
Yes.
substantially ready. And then the rest, I wish for them. I wish them well.
Yep.
I hope they wake up. If they don't, that's okay. That's the best thing about it.
And that's the thing, we are all responsible for our own journey in life.
Yeah,
We're not always responsible for what happens to us, but
yeah.
we are responsible for what we do with it, right? And what we learn from it, what we become of it, that is a choice, especially when you elevate your consciousness, it becomes even a more profound choice. But ultimately, our life is our responsibility. And we can gather people along the way that can help us become that abundant self, that enriched, beautiful, abundant heart, soul, and spirit, and meaningful purpose that we're meant to be. And we do need the help in order to get there along the way. But it's still our responsibility to step into participation of our
Mhm.
own self-creation of who we are.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. I love it. Same page, Sarah. We are on the train together, baby.
Well, woo-hoo!
So the card I kept pulling while we were talking was flexibility. So I think because we are entering a time of the unknown, right? You can either come from the unknown is scary, or you can come from this flexibility and enjoyment of
Yes,
watching the witnessing, of watching the shifts, of watching what's next, right?
yes,
I love
wonderment.
to see what's next. Yeah.
Yes,
What's next? Oh my goodness,
I
what's next?
know.
Let's
I mean,
watch.
I have everything I've ever done. Other than my children, I planned them and I ordered them. And I got the
Lovely.
sexes I wanted. And it blew my husband away because I only had one ovary one tube, yet I got pregnant when I wanted to fall pregnant and had the sex I wanted when I
Done.
wanted
I
it.
love
So,
it.
so
Manifester.
uh, but everything else has been, I don't know if I can do it unless I try.
Right.
Right? Here, like Prince Rupert, will it happen? Well, I hope if they're going to investigate, it won't happen until 2025 when it does. And it's like, I will make something out of it. The most important thing is I will be with my daughter and the children, which is, the most important thing there. But at the same time, it's like step into the unknown with a sense of wonderment, a sense of adventure. You never know who you're going to become. You never know what you're going to see. You never know what opportunities and possibilities are there. Go in with
Mm,
eyes wide open. You know by now which of those points you need to make sure, you're not coming with me, or no, I'm sorry, I'm not taking that path, I'm taking this
yeah.
one. That awareness, the more and more you immerse yourself into this, the more and more you realize with those triggers. Oh, you think you're backpacking with me? Forget it, right?
Yeah.
And you let it go, but keep the enthusiasm, the
Yeah.
joy of actually being able to take that journey and the wonderment of where it's going to go. No, you don't need a manual. One foot in front of the other with enthusiasm and awareness.
And you can have clarity too. You can be clarity
Yeah.
that I'm going to feel amazing and it's going to feel
Yes.
successful and there's going to be connections and I'm going to find things that inspire me and light up my life.
Yeah.
You can definitely invite that clarity in with the flexibility. And I think this is where people get a little bit tricky because they don't know how to be clear and flexible at the same time.
Exactly.
And
You
that's the
have
art
to,
of it.
yes, adaptability, adaptability,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
flexibility is so
yeah.
important because it may be asking you to step outside of, I mean, I don't know what my comfort zone is because I'm always
I
stretching
don't
it, right?
remember what it is.
So it's as long as I listen to my core. If my core says yes, then I go blind, deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel. If my core says no, I honor it. It knows more than
Yes,
I do. I am not going to do it. I don't need to justify, verify, or validate why I'm not doing it. Right? It's
yes.
not going to be good for me. Learn to know your own inner voice, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and making sure you're not acting out of those blind spot and fears though.
Yes.
Back to rounding it up,
Yes,
sweetie pie, right?
exactly.
Like
And blind
let's tap
spots
in
will
there.
always be there, folks. It doesn't matter how clear or what clarity or how high you are on your vibration. Those blind spots will always come. But just look at them for what they are and pay attention to them. Why are they there? Deal with them and then move on.
And don't be afraid to ask for help. If you really can't see
Exactly.
it, reach out. Like I see three healers.
Yeah.
This is my major profession. I take it very serious. I see
Yes.
people to help me. And plus I have my amazing husband. Yeah, if you're not seeing it, you're not knowing why, reach out and help because it's much easier. It's like trying to give
Yes.
advice to a friend. It's way easier to give advice to a friend than to give it to yourself. So
Exactly. Exactly. Try
they
talking to
could
your
definitely
mirror.
have that. Yeah, right. I love it. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. But
And
that
this is
doesn't asking for help is not weakness. Asking for help is
it's
strength.
strength. It's
Yeah.
strength, quite honestly, because in asking for help, you're not saying, I am weak. You're saying, I honor myself. There's something I'm not seeing
Yeah,
or
for
something
sure.
I don't know how to do. And I'm asking that help in
Yeah.
order to continue with my strength. I
Yeah.
think one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is your own vulnerability.
Yeah. And you may get there, but I'll
Yeah.
tell you, asking for help sometimes gets you there like lightning speed.
Yes.
And we don't have a lot of time here. Why are
No, we
you
don't.
wasting it?
No, we don't. No, as I say, I'm about to turn 69, and it's like maybe I'm lucky to have another 20 years, and I'm going to make sure that they're the most productive years of my life and the most
Yay.
joyful years of my life. I've already wasted enough time, on the other side. So it is immerse yourself that when you get up in the morning, are you enthusiastic of what your day is? Do you enjoy what you do? Would you do it for free? And if the answer is yes to all of that, you're on the right track. That doesn't mean
I
you have
wouldn't
to
do it
do
for
it for
free.
free. I know, but what I'm saying, you would do
Travel
it
too
for
much to do
free.
it for free, honey. I'm sorry. Let's be honest there.
Yeah, I know I do it for free because I do it by donations and people don't
Yeah, and
understand what
you're
that word is.
amazing.
And oh, I've got a
Amazing.
big bowl, folks. I've got a big bowl.
Yes.
Come and drop in.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that. I love that. Support
Support,
more of
support.
these shows, right?
Support the supporters. I mean, I actually
Yes.
have a genre of that. It's supporting the supporters. There's so many people out there that are giving of themselves and doing such exceptional work.
Yes.
Support them. You know, this is your career, this is your job. Aside from that, it is your passion, your conviction, and your purpose. All right. So why should people not support you for that help? And a
Yeah,
lot of people
exactly.
think that, well, you're spiritual, like you shouldn't charge. Bullshit. Sorry, folks.
I gotta tell
You
you,
know,
what I do is a little bit more important than a hockey player that makes $1 million.
exactly.
So, I'm sorry. No,
Yeah.
that's not how it goes.
No.
Yeah, both are gifts from God. But
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And the thing is that when you receive what you need to receive from someone like you, and you step and you align it with yourself, who you are, what you are, and how you feel in that time is priceless. So,
I love it.
if you have to
Yes.
put some money out for help, folks, do it. Get
You're
over
the
this
best
thing.
investment. Yeah,
Yeah,
you are the best investment you will ever make, Sarah.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And that's so important. Please be willing to invest money, time, energy, and love in
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. Yes.
That's the
And we
priority.
can I do a little card for all of your viewers quick before we go?
Please, please, please,
Oh, I
please.
love it. Okay, so I chose the chakra cards because this is kind of most people are well versed in what chakras are and how they run our system, and they help us there physically, emotionally, mentally, energetically. And so we're just going to ask that anybody watching this exactly what they need to hear in this moment comes up. And we get, oh, angels and masters. So reaching out to that support of the higher divine.
Mm-hmm.
So not
Mm-hmm.
only to master yourself, but know that there is divine support and help out there for you,
You are
whether it's in
always
the physical
supported.
world or in
Yes,
the realm.
yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
I
And
love it.
very often the realm support will lead you to the right person at the right time,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
that's the person that needs to help you at that time,
Yeah.
right? There
And
is
you can
no
say, Spirit, show me the way. Just show me the
exactly,
way. Yeah. I
exactly.
love it.
And you know what they do is they're leading you to selfdiscoverywisdom.com and over to quantum spirituality and over to Teresa Collins so that you can reach out to her and can look at all your lovely, beautiful BS and all those triggers and things that are in your
Blind
way.
spots, BS. I love
Yes.
it.
And kind of just help you see things differently because when you see it differently, you act differently, you feed it differently. And very often
Yes.
we just need somebody with different glasses on because
Yeah.
when we're in it, we can't see it. Then somebody else can see it and gives you that path to follow, that feeling that you need to
Mhm.
feel, then you're on your way, folks. So whether it's a one-timer or a consistent that you go back to her, it's please reach out for the help. You're not meant to
And
do this yourself.
yeah, and Sarah, and I'm offering a free card to every single person who's watching this. So if they want, and they just want a single card personalized for them, just a little bit of a tips and tricks to get them on their right path, I'd love to be of assistance, and that's 100% free. So,
Wonderful.
can
And
next if
the
you want that.
impact of that, folks, is that very often we don't know what step to take, and
Mhm.
until something actually says, this is it.
Yes,
I myself will draw a rune or a card. What do I need to
yes,
know today? And it's always apropos
yeah.
to where
And
you're at
sometimes
and what you need to know, right?
sometimes it's the confirmation you've already been getting, and just somebody who
Exactly.
doesn't know you, all of a
Yes.
sudden saying out of it, it's like,
Yeah.
wait, hold on, that was true.
Right.
I should
That was
do
the
that.
message that's been
Yeah,
knocking on my noggin that I haven't been paying attention. And now I
I
need to
love
pay
it.
attention to it. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you
So
for all you do, Sarah.
right back at you, darling. So how do people get hold of you and what is the booking procedure?
So they can go to blended-spirit.com and you can just click on there and my services get a free card. You can book a 15-minute talk if you just want to know more about what I do. I also have a whole bunch of online courses. So if you want to take things at home in your underwear at 2 o'clock in the morning, I love it. And you can learn about mermaids. I have a fantastic life coaching certification you can do if you want to show up and do what you and I do in this world
Mm.
as well. I can help you do that as well.
And do you
So
have any social medias, love?
oh, of course, I have Facebook, I have Instagram. So you can find me at Blended Spirit on Facebook or Instagram. I have a YouTube channel called Soul School by Teresa Collins. And if you want to find me personally on Facebook, just Google Teresa Collins. And
Wonderful.
I love that. Yeah.
So, folks, so there's always help. This is the thing. There's always an answer. I think one of the biggest problems with people is when they think, but I don't know. No. Okay. I don't know. I don't know where I'm meant to go. I don't know how to understand this right now. I simply don't know. That's when you reach out to someone and say, I
Mhm.
don't know. Can you see it? Because I can't. I'm blocked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's other side of things where people can see things from a different side, especially when it comes from channeling what needs to be seen. That gives you that clarity of, okay, now I
Yeah.
understand. Now I know what next steps I need to take. Right.
Yeah.
But very often that blockage of I don't know can cripple you if you stay there. So
Well,
please
yeah, and
ask for help.
you can waste years,
Yes.
right? You can waste
Yes.
years, or we could chat for 15 minutes and I can give you a little breadcrumb for the next.
Exactly. You know, a little shift to the right, a little shift to
Yeah,
the
you
left.
got it, baby. Let's dance.
The little cha-cha of life, exactly.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for being here today and sharing your wonderful exuberance and divine presence. And, folks, anybody can get there. Anybody can ignite their beautiful heart, spirit, and soul. That's what we're meant to do. That is that higher consciousness, stepping into your beautiful divine presence of what your gift is in life. This is Teresa's gift, denied when she was young,
Yeah.
but you can't deny it for long because it comes a
No.
knocking. And
Yeah.
then she paid attention to it. And this is the thing that the universe is asking you to pay attention right now. And if you need help in opening up that door and wondering what your path is, and you just don't quite get it, or you're not really kind of understanding the message, Therese is here to help you along your way. And sometimes all that needs is somebody opens up that door and goes, this is the path for you to take. And then be willing to take it in wonderment, in exploration, in that divine understanding that you're never alone and you will always be led to your meaningful purpose if you allow. So thank you so much, Teresa. Until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.